Byron.
Thanks, guys.
Marathon last night.
Congressman.
Great.
Well
How are
done.
you? How's the family?
You were a real skull cracker on this. You were out front.
Somebody, you've got to have a few folks that are willing to step forward and take the arrows to force the conversations. And I typically am one of those that draws that short straw. And I'm willing to do it. And part of that is, have a good relationship with the president and all the conversations are constructive. But, like Byron was saying, is we have a lot of wins in this bill, but a lot of those wins were because people stood firm and said, hey, we can make it better.
Yes.
Like push the tolerance level. Now it also means that we were voting at like 1:30 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, and we've all had way too much caffeine and no sleep. But hey,
you've been up for 48 hours?
I did get a nap. And lots of eye drops.
It's like a Joe Biden style nap. Yeah.
No, there were no drugs involved to put me in a coma.
Just let the Autopen cook for a while.
Well, that's a whole conversation. You could do a whole just show on the consequences of, was he actually president? What executive orders were illegal, if not treasonous? Are his pardons legal? It's one thing for me to give my staff permission to sign my signature. But if I'm unaware that they're using it and it's not just a kind of a technical formality, those pardons may be invalid. And so there's a whole lot there to unpack and could be, quite frankly, criminal.
Man, I lived in DC for so long, and this pardon operation is big. I know people have spent millions of dollars from jail, very corrupt people that spent millions of dollars in lobbying for pardons, trying to get themselves out of jail. It's like the easiest get out, you're a real scumbag, it's the easiest get out of jail free trick if you got a rich buddy. What do you think is the chances that people were getting paid for pardons here? Because 8,000 pardons is insane, Congressman.
Well, there's a whistleblower came forward saying that the pardons were being, signed when he would typically be asleep. So, it wasn't him. Although I don't have proof in front of me, I'm fairly certain that they were selling pardons out of the White House. And that would be staff, the machine, the library, whatever mechanism they were using. But I would be utterly shocked if that wasn't taking place.
Congressman, could you scoot over just a little bit so that everyone can see? Yeah, they want to see the congressman's face right there. We don't want it to be blocked with the mic. There you go. Perfect.
Sorry.
Well, I'm like, geez, this is going to be on Fox News. We got to get these clips up for Fox. What's happening next? A lot of people are like, this is fine, right? This is good. It's fine. And I know you're one of them.
Yeah.
But we can what? We can get executive orders. We can get Doge cuts. We can get more out of this. Yes.
So that was the conversation that we had.
This moves the wheels forward, right?
So
okay, that was the machine working.
That was the request of the president. Is like, give me this first step and trust me. Like, we're with you. I'm with you, the president. And so, yes, we made the tax cuts permanent, which is huge. Secure the border, making that permanent. You're now going to see reverse deportation and migration. And of course,
deportation's funded.
Yeah,
right.
Everything. Absolutely.
Deportations were funded in this.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on in Nashville with ICE and deportations as well. The blue cities, but and then probably not as significant to the entire country, but for those of us that have guns, love the Second Amendment. There's the suppressor. The language for owning a suppressor was changed. It's easier to get. You don't have to pay the $200 fee. The government doesn't take your gun for a year and all the other nonsense that was going on with that. So there's some victories in there. But I think with Medicaid and what Byron was saying is, I think with especially with him as governor, governors can play a huge role in that dynamic and that relationship of, wait a second, we don't need your help. Let's set up a mechanism where a state like Florida, like Tennessee, can be rewarded for spending the money wisely so that, if we're being block granted, whether it's Medicaid or education or road dollars, and we're using it more judiciously and we have money left over at the end, then we can reinvest that into that same healthcare or roads or whatever. And again, we're getting better bang for the buck. Now, California will piss it away, but that's on them, not us.
So Tennessee, you're getting ICE deportation. You're getting deportation to Tennessee. There's a little bit of news about that.
Yeah.
Can you give us an update on that? So Nashville, blue city, your district, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like a little bit of friction, right? You got the communist left-wing mayor
for sure
there in Nashville. And so where's the friction? Where's it going? Where's it headed?
All right. So you have some ICE deportations. So Freddie O'Connell came out and basically, told his police to report any communications with federal law enforcement. They have a community oversight board of the police department. He was encouraging citizens to file complaints against law enforcement if they assisted in deportations. And then you have a state rep who was literally did an Instagram or video or whatever for 15 minutes where she was following and blocking ICE vehicles. And so we turned that over to the DOJ. I questioned Secretary Noem in the Homeland Security Committee. We talked about this very instance, and then I called for an investigation of the city of Nashville, joint investigation from the Homeland Security and Judiciary Committees. And so we have a letter to that effect coming out shortly. And so it'll be, we're going to put, the mayor of Nashville, but all blue city mayors that if you screw around with federal law enforcement, we're going to come into your community and we're going to hold an investigation.
I think it's something that maybe all of us could agree upon. Could we deport the Hawk Tuah girl?
I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
I mean, that happened on the streets of Nashville. So it would technically be your jurisdiction, right?
Actually, Nashville's divided, so I'm going to give that one to Mark.
Okay.
Congressman Green.
They're trying to block the deportation of the Hawk Tuah girl.
No,
we don't know.
Look, if you're El Salvadorian, Trinidad, I got problems with you. Hawk Tuah girl, that is not my lane.
All right, Hawk Tuah girl. There's free margaritas in El Salvador.
Yeah,
all right.
I was just there.
That's right. You were in the prisons.
So we went down,
with APL, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to see it for myself. The mayor of Nashville's losing his freaking communist mind. So I wanted to go down there and see it. See the facility, see how they were being treated. I went and met with the president of El Salvador. It was an amazing trip. And the backdrop, which you have to understand.
He's like a real,
awesome.
He's a real gangster.
I don't know, gangster in the
in like the classic American, cowboy, clean it up.
Yeah, El Salvador's had 40.
He's the real deal.
40 years of violence.
The real deal.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, civil war, dictators, gang violence, murders, and you couldn't even go out on the street. But now they claim they haven't had a murder in 3 years. Kids are able to go to school.
A murder in the whole country?
That's right. But if you're a member of a gang in El Salvador, just a member, it's a minimum 20-year prison sentence. If you have any rank in the gang, it adds another 10 years. And then whatever crime you committed. So if you're a member of a gang and you committed a crime, you're going away for, petty theft, 30 years. Zero tolerance policy. But that's what it takes to clean up a country that's been wrought with violence for 40 years. And he wants to transform his country into a destination for investment and tourism. And quite frankly, it's a model for the rest of Central and South America that's, overrun with gangs.
Did you have any margaritas there? You don't have to break huge news on the stream, but did they serve you any salty margarita? Did you get the cherry?
I did not get a margarita. I did have the local beer.
Okay.
You're there, try the beer.
I'd love to go. I've never been, I've never even been to South America, but
I think we plan on going again.
Cool.
And we'll make sure
you're in the stream. Yeah. We'll do a stream with Nayib Bukele.
And I'll say it was a little intimidating. So when you go into this almost like a warehouse, and you got to understand the prison.
Yeah.
And there's different warehouses, and they're grouped by, they're Venezuelans, these are El Salvadorians. But when they go in, they never come out. So they're treated, their entire life is now within this facility that is self-contained. They're medical, they're legal, everything. But as we're in there and we're touring this facility, it's an operating prison. They're bringing, and each cell they're massive, 75 to 100 gang members in it. And there's, maybe a dozen personnel with us in this central corridor. And you're like, man, if they had the wherewithal to just rush us, it would be a crazy 3 or 4 minutes. Now they would flood the zone with personnel and weapons.
I've seen those guys. Yeah.
But that being said, it was like, oh crap, they're going to open that door. Oh, they just opened that door. Oh wow, there's 100 MS-13, and we interviewed one of the guys who had been deported from the United States, had spent time between Virginia and New Hampshire, and the question was asked, why were you deported, or why are you here in prison? He said homicide. The next logical question is, how many did you kill? He said 50.
I saw that on your feed. That's wild, 50, man.
But just as plain
50 murders.
No no feeling, no emotion, no empathy, no sorrow, just 50.
Dude.
Yeah. And that's who we're deporting. That's who we're sending to El Salvador.
We could lock him up with Dr. Fauci, right? Because if you can kill people so easily,
right. Well,
if you got that kind of a mentality, just put birds with a feather, right?
What I'll tell you about the prison, the way it operates, how can they have 75 people in a cell? If you and I are in the cell and we're talking, one, we have to talk quietly. But if a third person comes over to interact with us, they shut it down. Like there's no congregating in the cells. You sit, you're quiet, you're still. Anybody is remotely agitated, they come in. Like it is zero tolerance. And when you come out of your cell, you have two options. You can sit on the floor and read the Bible, or another group stands in front and they can do like stretching and jumping jacks and things like that. That's your only two options. There's no pissing around in the courtyard.
Insane.
It's read the Bible or do calisthenics.
Insane. I love it as a deterrence, right? It's such a great deterrence from the president.
Well, but these are some of the most violent men in the world.
Yes.
You can't give them an inch, right? And it's a
Ron Margarita.
Right.
Dude, that guy got cooked yesterday. Did you see Van Hollen got cooked by Rubio yesterday? Yeah, Rubio just smoked him.
We were working on this dang bill, right?
That's right. Okay. So close us out here. So give the chat is happy about this happening.
Yeah.
What can we expect over the next couple of years into the midterms? Obviously, we want a massive Republican majority. We want a red wave in the midterms. First question. What's your prediction on that? How do Republicans get there? How do Republicans not screw ourselves like we do every single time and like lose the ball game, right? On the midterms. How do we get more wins from the president's desk codified in Congress?
So I wrote a letter. So I think it's all about results, right? And that was why the president weighed in on this big, beautiful bill, because he wanted it to pass, because he needed the runway to get the tax cuts into law, signal to the markets and to businesses and to foreign investment that we've done it. The water's warm.
You can get it done.
That's right.
I mean, it's a huge message that you just get something done.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
But then I wrote a letter to the speaker that, it's time that we start codifying Trump's executive orders, because an executive order can be undone. And so by putting it into law, again, we're signaling to the markets that to businesses, et cetera, that it's permanent. It's going to be harder to undo. But to answer your question specifically, it's going to come down to the economy. The border is going to be secure. Like, this is the biggest funding bill, lots of deportations. This is going to get back to the economy. And so again, by codifying the executive orders, by making sure that we have a pro-growth, pro-business, like we're barreling towards $40 trillion in debt. Like, so I'm on financial services, which is banking. It's the nerd committee. So it's banking in the economy, and I'm on Homeland. But that being said, is like, we have to have, so we can't cut our way out of this. You cut everywhere you can, but we have so much debt and such ballooning debt that we have to grow this economy at a rate that is unprecedented. And you're going to have a president and a leadership from President Trump. Then also, when Byron becomes governor, again, how do the states work together because Florida is an economic engine of the country. Tennessee and Texas are economic engines for the country. So there's going to be a partnership as we go forward to the midterms. If we deliver on the economy and the border, we win, we pick up seats. It'll always be tight because of all the gerrymandering. Yeah. But that being said, I think we can pick up seats. We can defy history and have, an extra 3, 4, 5 members.
Yeah, great. And because criminal aliens being counted in the census, wild.
Which is something that we should address, right?
Gives Pelosi 20 extra seats. It's insane.
So that's why you have that illegal operation of backfilling California, New York, and Illinois with illegals. Is which states were having the largest population flight?
Of course.
California. Yes. They're coming to Tennessee. Yes. They're going to Florida. And the census.
Tennessee gained a couple seats, right?
No.
The next
census, we should gain 1, right?
1, okay. Florida's got 4. Texas got like 5.
Yeah, North Carolina should pick up a seat. Ohio. But if you're not counting the illegals, California's going to lose
10, 20.
Yes, exactly. Right. New York loses seats. And suddenly Tennessee, Ohio, Florida, Texas, we all gain several seats. That forever changes the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
And that is permanent. Why did Joe Biden, he was unaware. Why did the Biden administration flood this country with 10, 12, 15 million people? Yeah. It was all about the House of Representatives. It was all about the census and making sure that they didn't lose their shot at control. It was about power.
Man. Well, it's glad to see it reversed, I guess. It's a painful process.
It'll be painful.
But it's good to see it reversed.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to be pretty, and they're going to start dragging moms and crying babies, and as we're deporting people. But you came here illegally,
right? Criminal. You're a criminal.
You knew that there was a risk. So if you and I go sneak into France, we can go have a good time. But at some point, if they catch us, they're going to send us home.
Yeah.
We go to the UAE. They're going to send us home. Mexico's immigration laws are tougher than ours. I mean, like Mexico, really? Like they can't do anything right. So we can do this. It might be a little bit messy, but we don't have a choice.
We can sneak to France, Congressman. They'd surrender to us. I mean, all we have to do, we just stand on the border.
Conquer France.
From this, we got a carpenter right here. We just piece it together from Burchett's office.
That's right.
We can conquer France right now.
We'll bring Tim with us.
We got plenty. We got a baseball bat. We got a whole wall of Louisville Sluggers here.
He'll start telling jokes.
Louisville Sluggers. And we could conquer. They'd surrender immediately.
Something tells me I'm gonna get banned from France.
That's right. Yeah, Macron. Dude.
There's a few countries that because I've been critical of their governments.
I'd be like, Macron, you get out of here. You take your wife with you. You take her with you. Okay, you creepy little man. You get the hell out of here. Right? That's right. We'll send him to El Salvador. It's easy. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, and I really appreciate your answers on Hawk Tuah. I think this is a really smart. Stance that you had there. Not my stance. Okay, if it were up to me, she'd be doing margaritas in El Salvador. But I lost my life savings on the Hawk Tuah coin, so it's personal. Yeah, it's personal.
What I would tell the American people is, look, the bill wasn't perfect. We got a lot of great things done, but there's a lot of work to do. And you have individuals like myself that were always hard charging, Byron Donalds hard charging, the Freedom Caucus hard charging. We all have great relationships with the president. Stay tuned. There's much more to come.
Fantastic. All right.
Bless your family.
Best is yet to come, as they say. All right.
Yes,
Thank you, Congressman.
Absolutely.
Very based.